He is on the ground. He dove across the finish line of the most famous middle-distance track on Earth. And he thinks he lost. The Olympic champion is standing 10 meters ahead. The scoreboard hasn't been updated yet. 142.08. He won by 1/100th of a second. A 17-year-old with homework due on Monday just beat the man who won gold in Paris and gold at the World Championships. And before this race, the Olympic champion said something publicly about this kid that should have been a warning to every 800-meter runner alive. But first, drop this in the comments right now. Do you think a 17-year-old can break a world record that has stood untouched for 14 years? Yes or no? I read every single one, because Cooper Lutkenhaus does not know what his ceiling is yet. And honestly, neither does anyone else. If that sentence does not sit right with you, subscribe. Because this story is just getting started. And that's where everything changed Oslo. But you have to understand where this kid actually came from. Justin, Texas, small town, northeast of Dallas. Not a place with a long history of producing world champions. Just a regular suburb where kids go to school, play sports, and try to keep up with their older brothers. Cooper grew up in a house where losing was not an option. Not because anyone forced it, but because his dad ran collegiately. His mom runs the school he attends as principal, and his two older brothers were already ahead of him in everything. Every single day of his childhood was an unofficial competition he was not supposed to win. Church league basketball. Cooper is young. His middle brother is 4 years older. Most parents put the younger kid on a different team. His mom puts Cooper out there with the older boys anyway. He gets knocked around. He gets out-muscled. He never asks to come off. He just decides, quietly, that the older boys are the standard now. That is not stubbornness. That is not competitiveness. That is a personality that refuses to accept the ceiling someone else built for him. 8th grade, 153, 154. Most grown adults would consider that a serious personal best. Cooper was 14 years old, running those times between classes before anyone outside of Texas had ever heard his name. But before we go further, you need to understand what the 800 meters actually is, because the numbers mean nothing without the context. It is not. It is too long to sprint and too short to pace yourself. You run at 95% of your maximum speed for almost 2 full minutes, while your lungs are on fire and your legs are filling with acid. The men who win this event professionally have spent their entire adult lives learning how to suffer at that speed. First, it was the Brooks PR Invitational, then Nike Outdoor Nationals, both in 8th grade, both wins. The track world noticed slightly, the way it always notices a young kid running fast, and immediately wonders whether it will hold up. Freshman year of high school, 147.58, United States freshman record. Gone. Just like that. A record built over years by athletes who trained specifically to own it, erased by a kid who was still figuring out high school. While Cooper was quietly dismantling every record in front of him, the sports world was watching NBA playoff coverage, NFL draft analysis. Nobody outside of track circles was paying attention. Cooper Lutkenhaus was becoming one of the most remarkable athletic stories in American history, and the average sports fan had absolutely no idea. Sophomore year, February 2025, Millrose Games, New York City. He lines up against collegians, not high schoolers, collegians, and runs 146.86, Josh Hoey's indoor national high school record. Gone by almost a full second. Then June 2025, Michael Granville set the outdoor high school record in 1996. He held it for 29 years. 29 years. Granville watched Cooper break it in real time and said publicly he always knew this was coming. That detail matters, because when the man whose record just got erased tells you he saw it coming, that is not a compliment. That is a confession that the talent was simply inevitable. Cooper ran 146.26, then improved it to 145.45 3 weeks later. He was erasing his own records now. August 3rd, 2025, Eugene, Oregon, the U.S. Outdoor Track and Field Championships. Cooper Lutkenhouse is 16 years old, standing in a final against professionals, former world champions, Olympians. Men who have been doing this their entire adult lives. With 200 meters to go, he is in 7th place. Then the trigger fires. The same instinct built into him since middle school. The same spot he has pushed from in every single race he has ever run. He goes from 7th to 2nd in the final 200 meters, runs 1:42.27, beats Josh Hoey, beats Bryce Hoppel, beats Brandon Miller, men who between them have Olympic medals and World Championship finals appearances. The stadium at Hayward Field erupts. Youngest American ever to qualify for the World Athletics Championships. He is going to Tokyo. He is 16. He packed his homework for the flight. The World Championship 800-meter field does not care how fast you run in Eugene. It does not care about your high school records or your state titles or your Millrose Games performance. The best runners in the world have one specific strategy for a dangerous young kicker. Box him in early. Control the pace. Make sure he never gets the space to use his weapon. Cooper did not advance past the heats. He went home, and for the first time in his entire career, he had to sit with a result that had absolutely no silver lining. Now, here is what I want from you in the comments right now, and I want 3 things. First, at 16 years old, your school year just started, your friends are at home, and you get a chance to go to the World Championships knowing you might not even make it past the first round. Do you go or do you stay home? Second, if nobody told you about Cooper Lutkenhaus before this video, and this is the first time you are hearing this story, hit subscribe. Cooper chose the race every single time. He went home. He went back to class. He went back to practice. March 2026, Torun, Poland. While Cooper Lutkenhaus's classmates were on spring break, at the beach, sleeping in, doing every normal thing a 17-year-old is supposed to be doing, Cooper was in Poland lining up against the best middle-distance runners on the planet. He won in 1:44.24, youngest individual world champion in the history of track and field. Not just 800 meters, not just American history, all of track and field, every event, every nation, going back to the very beginning of the sport. His mom's response to all of this? 3 days later, Stockholm Diamond League. His professional debut, not a warm-up meet, not a developmental race, the Diamond League, the most prestigious professional track circuit on earth. He won in 1:42.70. Youngest Diamond League winner in the 16-year history of the series. Most professionals wait years for their first Diamond League win. Cooper waited 3 days after becoming world champion. But Stockholm was never the destination. Stockholm was the warm-up because one man had been watching all of this from a distance, and he had seen enough. Emmanuel Wanyonyi, 21 years old, Kenyan, Olympic champion Paris 2024, world champion Tokyo 2025, the most dominant 800-meter runner alive. He skipped Stockholm specifically to save himself for Oslo. The Olympic champion looked at his entire Diamond League schedule, circled one race, and said, I need to be fresh for the 17-year-old. And then, before Oslo, he said something publicly that the entire track world heard. Cooper is great and looks really strong. He is definitely the future of this event, but we are still here to hold the fort. That was not a compliment. That was a man who respected the threat so much he had to acknowledge it out loud right before he went out to prove he was still the king. And then Wanyonyi made one move that changed everything. Oslo, June 10th, 2026, Bislett Games, the most famous middle-distance track on the planet. 70 world records have been broken on this exact surface. The crowd knows what they came to see. Wanyonyi knows what he came to do, and somewhere in that field is a 17-year-old who dove across a finish line in his mind 1,000 times before he ever got here. The gun fires. Wanyonyi goes to the front immediately, as he always does, dictating the pace, controlling the race, making everyone else react to him. This is how he won Paris. This is how he won Tokyo. This is how he holds the fort. Same spot, every race since middle school, since the church gym in Texas, since the day his mom put him out there with the older boys and he decided they were the standard now. Every single thing in this story has been building to this exact moment. He takes the lead. Then Wanyonyi comes. Not done, not finished. The Olympic champion digs deeper than he has dug all season and starts closing the gap meter by meter all the way down the straight. He lands on the track absolutely convinced he has just lost, convinced the champion got him at the line, convinced that holding the fort was enough. Then the scoreboard updates, 142.08, 142.09, 100th of a second, less than the time it takes you to blink, the smallest margin by which one human being can beat another in professional athletics. And now remember what Wanyonyi said before this race. The future of the event is here, but we are still here to hold the fort. In Oslo, the fort fell. The kid with homework due on Monday, the one who packed his bags for Tokyo at 16, the one whose mom said he still has to go to prom, that kid is now standing at the top of the 800 meters, and he does not even know his own ceiling yet. 6 professional races, 6 wins, world indoor champion. Youngest Diamond League winner in the 16-year history of the series. 3rd fastest American in history, all before his 18th birthday. All while the sports world was looking somewhere else. That is what silently means. Not that nobody was watching, but that the people who should have been paying attention weren't. And while they were busy debating basketball trades and NFL storylines, a kid from Justin, Texas, was quietly rewriting the record books one race at a time. He was asked after Oslo what he thinks is possible next. He did not mention Wanyonyi. He did not mention LA 2028. He did not talk about legacy or history or what comes next on the Diamond League calendar. He said he still has not been to homecoming. He said he probably has to go to prom. His mom said so, and then he said the one line that should make every 800-meter runner on this planet deeply uncomfortable. I do not know what is possible. Not false modesty, not a scripted media answer. A 17-year-old who has beaten every single opponent he has ever faced, telling you honestly that he has not found his ceiling yet. Now think about that number, 140.91. David Rudisha, London Olympics 2012, the 800-meter world record, untouched for 14 years. The greatest middle distance runners of the last decade have looked at that number and accepted it as unreachable. Cooper Lutkenhaus just ran 142.08. He is 17. He does not know what is possible. Do the math. LA 2028 is 2 years away. Home Olympics, American soil. Cooper will be 19, still in his first full professional season when those games arrive. And remember, he dove across the finish line in Oslo thinking he had lost. He had won. That is who is coming to Los Angeles. So here is what I want from you right now in the comments. 3 things. First, LA 2028, gold medal, world record, both, or does the world finally catch up to him? Second, how old are you and where in the world are you watching this from? Your city, your country, drop it all below because I genuinely want to know where this story is reaching. Third, if you found this channel today and nobody told you about Cooper Lutkenhouse before this video, subscribe, because this is exactly the kind of story we find before the rest of the world catches up. And if you think the sports world is still sleeping on this kid, share this video because that is exactly what silently means.